So what kind of dirt did they dig up on Destiny this time?
Well, we've got a user here,
Mm,
Destiny's Gaping Asshole,
okay.
decided to post an Imgur album with a ton of leaks.
All right, so what kind of leaks are we talking? What did they leak?
We're talking like personal messages,
Okay.
pictures, the whole nine yards.
All right, so what's in these leaks that's so juicy, so interesting?
Well, some people have speculated about Destiny having a foot fetish,
Right. Right.
and it seems like those might actually be true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's confirmed by these leaks.
So we've got confirmation on the foot fetish.
Yeah, there's some pictures.
All right, so
Wait.
right, so what else is in here?
Well, another user, Latrell Sprewell, points out,
Mhm.
he says it's funny that Destiny might be more embarrassed about this foot fetish than some of his other tendencies that were revealed in the leaks.
So what other tendencies are we talking about?
Well, we're talking some pretty explicit conversations.
Okay.
Discussions about his sexual encounters, all that good stuff.
All this while being in a relationship.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, to make things even spicier,
Okay.
there's some mentions of his wife's butt plug being involved in some of these activities.
Hold on, a butt plug.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty wild.
It's getting pretty spicy in here.
Okay, so we've established that these leaks are pretty revealing, to say the least.
Definitely.
But beyond just, the kind of tabloidy stuff,
Yeah.
what did these leaks tell us about Destiny as a person?
Well, Destiny's always kind of cultivated this this persona of being this crazy character.
Right.
And one user, Blav, said he feels like a bizarre cartoon character.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people kind of,
Right.
they cultivate this larger-than-life persona online.
Right.
But in Destiny's case, it kind of seems like the lines between reality and performance are really blurred.
Right, and it really makes you think, like, is this intentional on his part?
Right. Is he playing it up for the views?
Yeah.
Is this just who he is? We don't really know.
Yeah. And Destiny, he thrives on controversy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He pushes buttons. So is he intentionally doing all this just to get a rise out of people?
Yeah, it's a bold strategy.
Yeah.
It's definitely working.
Yeah.
But it comes with risks.
And speaking of risks, he was in a relationship while this stuff was going on.
Right.
And there were some hints at infidelity in these leaks. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so it appears that while he was pursuing a relationship with Lauren Southern, he was also having some flirtatious conversations with a 19-year-old.
So he's juggling multiple romantic interests
Yeah.
while building his career as an online personality.
Yeah, it's a lot to manage.
Yeah.
And, user Island Crawler pointed out that Destiny has argued that this kind of behavior is acceptable.
Oh.
But the irony is that he didn't really seem to factor in the possibility of leaks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a do as I say, not as I do situation.
Right. The internet never forgets.
Yeah.
And this whole situation really just shows how little privacy we have in the digital age.
Absolutely.
But beyond just the personal drama of it all,
Yeah.
what do these leaks tell us about Destiny's approach to relationships
Right?
and how he navigates the online world?
That's a great question.
And that's something that we're going to look at
We'll dig into that
when we come back
in the next part
from the break.
of the deep dive.
So stay tuned.
So before the break, we were talking about Destiny's approach to relationships.
Right, and how he kind of navigates that online world.
Right, and how this all ties back to these leaks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about how people are reacting to these leaks.
Yeah.
What's the general consensus over on Kiwi Farms?
Well, it's a mixed bag.
What's it
There
like?
are people who are like expressing concern for his wife,
Right.
but a lot of people are also just finding it funny.
I mean,
It is Kiwi Farms after all.
yeah, that's their bread and butter.
Yeah, it really.
This is what they do.
Yeah. One user, Gumbo Variation, just commented, "Finally something to laugh about."
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of captures it.
Yeah.
Like, even in these corners of the internet,
Right.
where things can get really dark and intense,
Right.
people still have to find a way to cope,
Exactly.
to process all this information.
Yeah. And humor is a big part of that.
Yeah. So, beyond just the laughs, though,
Yeah.
are there any kind of deeper takeaways that are emerging from these discussions?
Yeah, there's a lot of debate about whether these leaks will have any real impact on Destiny's career.
Right. Because, I mean,
Will this be just a bump in the road?
the internet has a short memory,
Exactly.
but some things are just hard to forget,
yeah, and especially when butt plugs are involved,
especially when butt plugs are involved.
it's hard to erase that from your memory.
Yeah. But that brings up another good point.
Yeah.
There was a user Tycho Brahe,
Yeah.
who wondered if any of the slob channels would pick up this story.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
So for those of us who don't know what slob channels are,
Right.
could you kind of explain what that is?
Yeah, so basically they're like YouTube channels that focus on like drama and gossip,
Okay.
internet drama.
So like the digital version of tabloid magazines.
Exactly. They
Right.
thrive on this stuff.
All right, so...
And they usually have a pretty big audience.
Oh,
So the question is, are these channels going to pick this up?
right.
Or is Destiny's influence going to keep them quiet?
And that's an interesting point, too.
Yeah.
Because it kind of speaks to the power dynamics
Right.
that are at play online.
Exactly.
Like, who controls the narrative?
Yeah, who gets to decide?
Who decides what gets amplified?
Right.
What gets buried?
Exactly.
It's a complex web.
It is.
And we need to be aware of this.
For sure.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
When information spreads so rapidly.
Right.
So these leaks are not just about Destiny's personal life.
Right.
But they're also about how information travels online.
Yeah, how it's shaped.
Yeah, how it's shaped.
How it's consumed.
Yeah, and it's a reminder to be critical of what we see.
Exactly.
Especially online.
Be a critical consumer.
Especially in these kinds of spaces.
Right.
I mean, speaking of being critical,
Yeah.
there are some valid criticisms coming out of these leaks.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Destiny, he's built his platform on being rational,
Logical.
logical,
Right.
but some of this behavior
Yeah,
seems to contradict that image,
definitely.
especially that point that Island Crawler made
Yeah.
about how, Destiny argues for these behaviors
All right.
while simultaneously doing them himself.
The hypocrisy is pretty blatant.
Yeah, it highlights the gap
Right.
between public image,
And private life.
and it makes you question
Authenticity.
integrity.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah,
Because it goes beyond just the leaks.
right.
It's about online fame.
It's about the expectations we put on people
Yeah.
that we look up to. It's about the blurred lines between public and private life in
Exactly.
the digital age.
Yeah. It's a lot to unpack.
And we're going to dive into all that
Even deeper.
in the final part.
Of the deep dive.
So stay tuned. All right, so we're back.
Back again.
And we've talked about the leaks, the reactions, and now the big question.
The big one.
What does all this mean for Destiny going forward?
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah, the internet is unpredictable.
So unpredictable.
Trends come and go, scandals erupt, and then
They fizzle out.
they fizzle out. But
But these leaks.
these leaks feel different.
They do feel different.
He spent years building this image,
Carefully crafted image.
and this really kind of throws a wrench in that.
Yeah, it definitely complicates things.
It shows a side of him that doesn't really line up with
With the persona he's built.
that. Yeah.
With the champion of logic and reason.
Yeah. It's a reminder that even the biggest online personalities,
They're human.
they're human.
They're flawed.
They have their own contradictions. Contradictions, yeah.
But just like all of us.
And Destiny's contradictions are
On full display.
on a full display here.
I mean, on one hand, you have these explicit conversations, these activities.
Right.
And on the other hand, he's out there debating, like,
Syria's tough.
the Israel-Palestine conflict.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
quite the contrast.
Yeah. And it makes you think about those different parts of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we present different versions of ourselves depending on where we are and who we're with.
Absolutely. Different contexts, different audiences.
Yeah, especially online.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's this pressure
To curate this perfect image.
to be perfect, yeah.
Impossible.
But it was interesting what Harm said
Yeah?
about how people would still go to Destiny streams.
Even after all this,
Even after all this,
to hear him debate.
to hear him debate.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, so
like
it makes you wonder how much we separate the person
From the persona.
from the persona.
The message from the messenger.
Can you like someone's work but
But condemn their actions.
condemn their actions? Yeah.
That's a tough question.
Yeah, it's a question we all face.
In this day and age especially.
So can Destiny recover from this?
I don't know. He's resilient.
He is. He's bounced back from controversy before,
He has.
and he's always been very upfront
On
about
who he is.
who he is.
Warts and all.
Yeah, like he makes those jokes about his height.
Right.
He doesn't let it define him.
He owns it.
He owns it. And I think that's
It's part of his appeal.
that authenticity is.
Even if it's messy.
Yeah, even if it's messy.
People are drawn to that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how he handles this
They will.
and what it means for him going forward.
Absolutely.
This whole deep dive has been a wild ride.
It has. It really has.
Shocking revelation.
Thought-provoking discussions.
Yeah, about online
Or
persona.
the power of information.
It's been a journey,
It has.
and it's left us with more questions than answers.
As always.
But I think that's the point.
It is to spark curiosity.
To challenge our assumptions.
To get people thinking.
And to explore all the complexities
Of this digital world.
of this digital world that we live in.
It's a fascinating place.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
Into the world of destiny.
into the world of destiny,
In his leaks.
we'll leave you with this. What does this story tell us about online celebrity?
About the power of information.
About the blurry lines between public image and private life.
In the digital age.
In the digital age, it's something for all of us to think about.
Absolutely.
Now, before we go, don't forget to like and subscribe to Google Presents Kiwi Farms.
See you next time.
Until next time, keep diving deep.